Now you're going to need to buy some supplies for your bar, which you can get at any restaurant supply store. Now the first thing we'll talk about is the station. When bartenders work together, they can get a little competitive. So each bartender in the bar gets what is known as his station. That's his area of customers that he's going to work with. And this name has come down to the tools that the bartender needs also, because each bartender needs these tools to work. So these tools are known as his station. So let's build a station. And the first thing you need is the shaker cup. The next thing you need is the mixing glass. Then you need your strainer. You need your stirring spoon. And last but not least, you need your ice scoop. Believe me, do not dip your hand in the ice. It will get cold. And there you have a station. Other things you need are a shot glass. This shot glass is most important when you're starting out. The one we're using today is 1 1/4 ounces. It's our standard measure. It's sometimes referred to as a jigger. And if I say we're going to be using a full measure, I mean we're going to fill this shot glass to the top. And that's going to be the measure of the alcohol that we're using for that particular drink. You also have what's known as a speed pour. This speed pour goes in the top of your bottle, and it prevents you from splashing liquor all over yourself and your guests. And you need a blender. You can probably use the blender in your house. I'm sure it will do. The kind of glasses that you have in your bar are very important because that's part of the presentation. And after all, you want your drinks to look as beautiful as they taste. Let's talk about the glasses. We have the highball glass. This is 8 ounces. It's probably the glass you'll use the most in your bar. It's used with liquors and chasers such as juices or sodas. Next, you have the rocks glass. This is a glass that's used, not surprisingly, with liquor on the rocks. Then we have the martini glass, probably the most elegant glass in your collection. Then we have the snifter. The snifter is used for cognacs, and it's shaped this way so you can hold the glass thusly with the cognac inside, swirl it around. The heat of your hand makes the bouquet rise up to further enjoy the drink. Then we have your champagne glass. When you're trying to impress that special someone, you cannot serve champagne in a rocks glass. You need a champagne glass. Wine glass for red and white wine. Beer glass, most people prefer a 16 or 14 ounce beer glass. And lastly, we have the glass we already spoke of, the shot glass, which we'll use to measure your drinks. With these basic glasses, you will be able to make any drink that you're called upon to make in your bar. Let's talk about making drinks in a highball glass. The highball glass I'm using is an 8 ounce highball glass. The measuring shot glass I'm using is 1 1/4 ounces. For my recipes that I'm using, you must use these size of glasses. If you're going to vary the size of glasses, you have to vary the recipe a little bit, adding or subtracting a little more depending on if your glass is smaller or larger. We're going to need some mixers to mix the liquor with to make your cocktails. Now the mixers fall into 2 groups, which are basically sodas and juices. So let's talk about the sodas. Now, of course, you're going to need cola. You're going to need Diet Cola for those people that are a little bit weight conscious. Then we're going to need Sprite. Then we're going to need the big one, tonic water. Tonic water is most important. We're also going to need ginger ale. And last but certainly not least, we're going to need club soda. The next basic group is the juice group. Let's start with orange juice, cranberry juice, grapefruit juice. We also need tomato juice for Bloody Marys, pineapple juice, and also coconut milk, which we use to make our pina coladas. Let's talk about a little group of mixers I call the odds and ends. Don't worry about what we use them for. I'll explain that later. First there's sour mix, grenadine, sweetened lime juice, and bitters. Garnishes are an important part of your drink because they're part of your presentation, and they're also fun because you get to prepare them yourself. I'm going to show you how to prepare some garnishes. First, let's talk about the 6 garnishes. These are the cherries, the onions, and the olives. Then there are oranges, limes, and lemons. Now the cherries, the onions, the olives, you simply take out of the jar and pour into a rocks glass. Set them aside for when you need them. But you actually have to prepare your oranges, your lemons, and your limes. So let's do that. First, we're going to show you how to prepare the orange. The orange is rather large, so the first thing we want to do with our bar knife is slice off the ends. This prevents it from rolling around while you're trying to cut it. Let's stand it on the end, slice it right down the middle. Now you have 2 halves. Take 1 half and slice approximately 1/8-inch slices. You're probably going to end up with 7 or 8 slices. Here's your typical orange slice right here. And to get a little more fancy, put a little slice in the middle, hook it on your glass, you have a beautiful orange slice. Now let's put these oranges in a rock glass so we have them for later. And let's move on to limes. Limes are a little smaller, so I generally just go right down the middle. Take our 2 halves, and we're going to cut about 1/4 inch slice, slice. I don't make the slit in the lime because usually you prefer your lime inside the drink where it gets more flavor. So you don't need a slit there. Now we have the lemon. The lemon is actually the most fun. First you have your basic lemon cut. When you cut it in half, 1/4 inch slice, 1/4 inch slice, lime wedges. The most interesting one is the lemon twist. People ask you, give me a twist of lemon. So, how do I get a twist out of this? Aha. This is a secret that bartenders know. First, cut off the 2 ends, like you did with the orange. Okay, now, this is where the fun part comes in. Take your bar spoon, and underneath the pulp, and between the skin, insert your spoon. This is going to get the pulp loosened. And here we go. And then let's flip it over. Get the pulp in here. And here we go. As you can see, it's coming out. It's a little messy, but don't be afraid. You notice there's a lot of juice here, and I'm getting some of it on me, but that's good because bartenders cannot be afraid to get wet. Ah, here it is. Victory. We have our pulp out. Now, what you have here, you can see, it's pure skin. Just a little bit of pulp left inside, but that's good because it'll give you flavor. Cut your rind, turn it over, flatten it, cut this off, a little bit of an angle. Now, every 1/8 of an inch again, right down the lemon. You're going to get a little pulp, but that's fine. That's great for the taste. And there you have lemon twists, which will give you a beautiful flavor when you twist them because there's just a tiny bit of pulp there, and you'll get the juice. So, that's how you prepare your garnishes. Now we're going to make another rocks drink, the Americano. The way I remember how to make this drink is that it's based on the Negroni, but it doesn't include gin. So I always tell myself when anybody orders it, the Americano doesn't want gin. So with that, you'll never forget it. So since we're not going to use gin, we're going to start with the next ingredient, which is sweet vermouth. 3/4 of a shot. Our next ingredient, Campari. Again, 3/4. And to lighten it up, make it a little lighter than the Negroni, we put in club soda. Almost a fill. And garnish with lemon twist. Twist it right there. Stir stick. The Americano. Now we're going to talk about the Bay Breeze. Bay Breeze starts out the same way. Shot of vodka. Highball glass. This time only half cranberry juice. And then we're going to fill it with pineapple juice. Little room because you got a lime garnish coming in. And that is the Bay Breeze. Let's make some cocktails that don't involve juices. One of the most basic is the Black Russian. The Black Russian is made in a rocks glass. Most drinks that are made in rocks glasses are 2-liquor drinks. That means they consist only of 2 liquors blended together. And that's true of the Black Russian. And we start out again with vodka. And then you add half a shot glass of coffee-flavored liqueur. So, pour it on top of your vodka. Give it a little swirl with the swizzle stick. And you see that vodka? There it is. Black Russian.